What's going on, guys? It's Kwasi from Studio Kwasi. So this is part 2 of my ongoing series on how to make a Brutalism style poster. So in the last video, we focused more about placement and boxes and shapes. And in this video, we're going to talk more about text placement and getting the poster ready for color. Anyways, I don't really want to talk too much, but let's just jump into where we last left off. So now I have my orientation. I'm going to add everything else, including my text and some other effects that I usually do for designs like this. So let's do that. Okay, I also mentioned organizing your layers. So I'm going to click on the top layer. I'm going to go hold shift to the image before the background. I'm going to hit this folder button and it's going to group the layers. So I want to actually rename this. I think if you double click, there we go. I'm going to name this images. So now when I open it, it shows me all the images I put in there. The reason why you want to group, example, let's say I want to put a threshold to all these images. Let's say I put like let's paste like another image like this. Say I want to put an effect on all the images behind this picture, right? What I would do is I'll click images and then I'll hit whatever effect I want. Let's say I want exposure, put up the offset. See how everything behind this thing gets, the effect. Sometimes, what I could just do is I could just have it all open without the group and put the exposure, but it makes more sense as you add more things to the design that you don't want effects to go to. And another key thing when it comes to like grouping is you just want to keep your canvas organized so nothing gets lost or you don't get confused with what you're doing. So, all right, so now I think I'm ready to add text and other things to make this more full. So again, the key to text is I left spaces and these spaces got to be filled with something. So what I'll probably do, I'll look at the original Spirited Away poster and I'll put it on the screen in a second. And I'll kind of use that as a guide to how I want to do this text. Now the text I personally use, I use Della Gothic 1. The reason why I like this text so much is because it also gives you Japanese text, which makes sense because I'm doing a Japanese anime poster. I want to be able to use English letters and Japanese lettering as well. So Della Gothic 1 is probably my favorite text, and it's actually free for personal and commercial use. So if you want to use this for your own poster designs that you plan to sell, Della Gothic 1 is probably my favorite. I'll show you guys what it looks like in a second. So before I even do anything, what I'm probably going to do right here is write Spirited Away. And I'll probably write Spirited here and Away here. And I'll have the Spirited part go up and the Away part go down. And then I'll add more things to it as we go. So let's go ahead and just do that. So now we got to think about how else we can add to this. Now this is pretty simple and I want it to be more unique. So another thing I like to do is this kind of effect I like where I'll zoom in, and what I'll probably do now is make a bar like this with my select tool, and I'll make a new layer. Again, new layer, you go to the bottom right, this is plus sign. I'll pick my paint bucket tool like this. My paint bucket tool is right here underneath the eraser. It just fills in the space that I want. I'll deselect because I just hate when that outlines on. I'm gonna double click on my layer and I'm going to add a gradient overlay. And when I go to my gradient overlay, it's gonna ask me for two colors. So the color 1 will be the darkest color, so this section, and color 2 will be the lightest color, will be this section. What I want to do for color 1, I want to go as the same color as the background, this. And color number 2, I want the background as well, but I want it to be lighter, so I want it to be like this, so that it makes sense. So boom, I have that. Now I think this looks good, so let's go zoom out and see how it kind of fits. I like it. So I'm going to actually move it down just a little bit so it makes sense. And now I'm going to hit Control J. Control J just duplicates it. So now I can drag it here and I want to put it here. All right, cool. So next we can add some more. I'm thinking about adding Japanese text here, and I probably will leave this upper area clear or empty because it makes more sense. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to Google and use some help. All right, so here we are in Google Translate. So I'm gonna type in English to Japanese. So this is pretty cool because if I want to type, let's say I want to type in spirit. Cool. Seishin is how you pronounce it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to copy the Japanese kanji for this. I'm gonna go back to Photoshop. I'm going to take my text tool and I'm going to paste that. So now I have the kanji for spirited. And again, this only works for texts that allow that. So Della Gothic 1 allows you to do Japanese text. So that's how I'm able to get this. So I like this a lot. And what I'll probably do is put it here, right? And again, there's still a lot of space here. So what I'll also probably do is get a text box of just like a text summary here, just to fill up space. So what I'm gonna do also is use the power of ChatGPT. So let's jump into that. So I'm in ChatGPT. I know people have their opinions about it. I personally use it because if I want to get a quick summary of something I'm doing, especially for the poster design, I'm not about to write a summary of Spirited Away. I think ChatGPT will probably do a better job than me. But what I'm gonna type in is Spirited Away text block, because I just want text I can use just to copy and paste. Cool, it does that for me. So what I'll probably do is I'll read what makes sense. So I'll start here, which is a young girl named Chihiro, and I'll stop right here at this sentence. I'll hit copy. So I'm back on my Google Translate because I actually want that text in Japanese kanji. So what I copied from ChatGPT, if you guys remember, I'm going to actually paste it here. And sometimes you can't use all of it because it's a lot, but let's see what we can do. If you have to extend it, we will. So you probably want to zoom in just so everything can fit. And I want my text to go here. So obviously 90 is going to be too big, so I'm going to go with 5. 5 is too small. So I think I like this. So I'm going to put it down here. And what I'm also going to do now is I want to put something above here that's a little bit bigger than 10. Let's use her name, Hero, like this. I like this, like that. And I'm going to make it, let's make it like 13. That, because I want it to be a little bit bigger than everything. So I'm going to put it right here, kind of in the middle of everything. And also I kind of want it to stand out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer here. I want to put a box over this text, right? So what I'm going to do is select here. You're going to right click and you're going to hit stroke. And the stroke, I probably want it to be like, I think I want to do like 10. I think I want to do 5. 5 seems to make the most sense. Yep, 5 works for me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just move the Japanese text a little bit so it's not overlapping. So let's zoom out and see what we got. So I zoomed out. So the stroke isn't thick enough for me. So I'm going to, let me just redo that. So this is the layer where we made that stroke right here. I'm going to double click and hit the stroke right here. And I wanted to make it bigger. And oh yeah, the color needs to be white. I want to make this bigger, just a little bigger. So probably like 3. That works for me. What I want to do is write Hayao Miyazaki's name here because he's the director and writer of the movie. So we're going to still keep the Gothic and again, and I'm going to make this, let's make it like, actually this works. You know, I like how it looks like so far. So I'll put his name here. Let's make it a little bigger and see if that works for us. Again, guys, like this is a raw tutorial. I'm kind of doing this all on the fly. And this is how design is, you know, you're just gonna have to go back and forth and redo things. So here we go. I think this one works the best. So I have Hayao Miyazaki right here. And when I look at this, I'm like, okay, what else space can I take over? As you guys can see, there's a little bit of space right here. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do the same thing I did up here, but down here. And what I think might make sense to me is to add another picture. See, originally I wanted to do 3 pictures, but I'm gonna add a little box here and give a character description of Chihiro, the main character. So I'm gonna go on Google, find a picture of her, make a square box here, because look, this is on the right side. So if I put her picture on the left side, it kind of works out with you kind of scanning the image. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to Google and find something. And before I do that, I'll create the placeholder. So I'm going to go here, something like this, because again, I want some spaces because I don't want it to bleed over here with this. So again, I'm going to go to Google, find an image. I'm gonna edit it to make it black and white like I did before. Remember, black and white, threshold, exposure, and yeah, I'll be back. Okay, so I found my image. Obviously I'm not gonna use the I think that's the Dragon Kid. I'm sorry, I forgot a lot about this movie, but planning on rewatching it soon. But you know, I forgot his name. Haku. His name was Haku. So I'm gonna I want to use this Chihiro on the left side. So let's copy it. Go back here. Remember this box we made? This is where I'm planning to put it. Make a new layer. Let's hit the paste button or Control V. Doesn't matter what you guys do. Now you guys might notice it's small, but I don't need it to be as big as these images because the placeholder I have isn't that big. So I'm not afraid to resize this because I won't lose that much quality. So, and again, I just want her in it. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger and put her right here. Makes sense. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to also do is I want to put a text box here with just a summary of her character. And the reason I want to do that, just kind of what I do. It's like I think there's like a character intro to let you know more about her. And if we look around, I feel like I don't have a lot of Japanese text. Now, this is kind of where you make a decision. I have a summary here. This is a summary of the movie, not her. Remember, guys, when we were on ChatGPT, we picked the summary of the movie and not her. I'm gonna have to debate, do I want Japanese text or English text? So I think I'm gonna just go with Japanese. So I'm going to do this with the text box. And again, Photoshop is beautiful because it kind of gives you the dimensions for you. So this text box is the same height as this. It'll be the same width as this. So it's going to keep it all organized. Now, again, if you guys notice, this width and this width is different. I'm okay with that because, again, I want your eyes to wander. So that's really what Brutalism's about. It's just about making proportions and shapes to keep the audience attention in different places. So back to this, I think like a 10 text box might work. 10 might work. So I'm gonna go back to ChatGPT. I'm going to copy and paste a character summary of her, and I'll paste it back here. It's pretty big. So this is pretty big. So I'm gonna go to 8.9 works for me. I want to put this here, and then I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Remember the border that I put here? I want the same thing here to kind of keep it consistent. So gonna zoom in. And I'm going to try to select this. I want it to be the same size as this, but I don't think I'm going to be able to pull that off. Maybe I can. Let's see. And then I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to hit stroke. And let's do a 7 pixel stroke. Deselect. And boom. This should work. So I personally like it. I think it fits what I'm going for. So the last thing I want to do is down here, this space right here. What I usually do, I want to kind of keep this gradient map going, or this gradient, this from dark to light. So I'm going to add one more down here. This is kind of my thing. I typically do this for all my designs. Somebody else probably invented it, but you know, something I just do. So I'm going to create a new layer. Every time you want to paint something or create a shape, you got to make a new layer. You want it to always be its own separate layer. because in the case you want to move it back and forth, you want to be able to just move that shape. The reason why you want to make it on its own separate layer, because say I did this and I put like a circle somewhere, every time I move it, it's going to move this and the circle. So I always put these things on a separate layer. And plus, I also want to give it some effects. Example, I want to give it a gradient overlay. Again, it's the gradient map saves, so it's going to be the same thing I had earlier, and it works out fine. Photoshop is very lenient when it comes to spacing, so it's going to keep it between the guidelines I made. So we zoom out, and I'm starting to like where we're at with this. So here we are. The only thing that's bothering me is up here. I feel like this is too symmetrical, honestly. So what I might do is I might just copy this right here, Control C, and then I might just zoom in and paste the exact same text here, because I feel like this space here is just too empty. Like I want to just add something to it. Again, this is just going to be just a test to see like what looks good and what doesn't. I'm gonna make this like a 70. I want it to fit between here. Let's zoom out and see what that looks like. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that, but I think it works. I think it works. Definitely think it works. So this is basically what I like. I think the poster is basically done, and at this point you can just save it the way it is. What I would probably do, I'd probably add some effects to some of the text, but I think this works for me. Actually, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go to where I have Miyazaki's name, and this is kind of what I like to do. So I'm gonna hit Control J. I'm going to what Control J does, it duplicates the layer. I'm going to take the bottom layer. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to blending options. I'm going to put the I'll put the fill opacity down. So I'm going to put the fill opacity down. I'm going to actually stroke it, and I want the stroke to be like, let's go for like 5, right? So you can see I turned down the fill, but I have a stroke, and that gives this like 3D effect that I kind of like. So I want to put it like this. That way your eyes can kind of go to this middle section. So a lot of things going on with this poster. My eyes are kind of wandering. I think what I don't like is how symmetrical these two are, but I'm gonna leave it the way it is because I think it still kind of works out. So at this point, you can just save the poster the way you want it. But me personally, I like to add effects. And what I don't like to do is kind of show you guys or give you guys what I do, simply because you just want to do this on your own accord. So if I'm going to pick a color, I think I might go for blue. But again, I'm just going to add my own effects to it. I'll show you guys how I do it. But what I won't do is give you guys the textures I use, because unfortunately I did buy most of these textures and I just can't give it out without you guys buying it. Now, unfortunately, I've had these textures for years, so I don't exactly know where I got them from. But this section of the video, I'm going to show you how to add effects and make this pop a little more.